Welcome to the October 1st, 2021 Bitcoin Cash Network discussion. For more information about these discussions, visit bitcoincashnetworkdiscussions.org. Today, we're checking in with the smartBCH ecosystem for the first time since the Bitcoin Cash sidechain launched its mainnet. I'm joined by Kui Wang, lead developer for the smartBCH project, Josh Ellithorpe, software engineer at Coinbase and developer of SmartMask, Fernando Pelliccioni, developer of Knuth and Bitcoin Cash Node, and creator of the KTH token, and Mark Lamb, CEO at CoinFLEX, the proprietors of Flex and FlexUSD. So we'll be getting to the technical status of smartBCH with Mr. Wang in a few minutes, but first let's hear from each of the other guests about what their involvement with the smartBCH ecosystem is, starting with Fernando. So you've created a smartBCH token. Could you tell us a little more about it?
Yeah, I created the KTH token about 1 month ago when I realized I can do it. So I started like just for fun or for testing what I can do with the smartBCH. And then I realized that I can use that token to fund the Knuth project. I don't know, maybe in the future, the token gives some money to the project. It could be useful for Knuth development, and also I am working at BCH and maybe could help that project. I hope. So it started for fun, but then we can earn some profit and contribute to BCH.
Thanks very much. So we're also joined here by Ian Blas of BCH Argentina. Thanks very much for joining us. And actually now's a perfect time because Fernando just described his project. So could I ask you, so you've also got a token project on smartBCH. Could you tell us just a little bit about what it is?
Yes. We create ARG. It's a Bitcoin Cash Argentina token, SEP20. The idea of ARG is onboard people to use smartBCH, because if we send ARG token in an airdrop, they need to config MetaMask, use the DEX, and maybe they can, digamos, inside to smartBCH and stay here. It's for onboard people and bring users to smartBCH.
Thanks very much. And Mark, so CoinFLEX's relationship with smartBCH does go beyond the token projects here, but we'll be getting to the bridge situation a little later. So could you give us just a brief overview of Flex and FlexUSD?
Absolutely. So FlexUSD, I think, is sort of the project of ours, that the product of ours that has the most wide appeal. FlexUSD is a stable coin that pays interest every 8 hours, wherever you're holding it. So you're holding it on CoinFLEX, or if you're holding it in your own MetaMask on smartBCH or Ethereum. And you know, the interest is basically derived from leveraged traders on CoinFLEX that pay funding. It's over collateralized. It's always backed by $1-to-1 dollars worth of collateral on CoinFLEX, and the rates have been pretty good. So we're averaging around 13 or 16% APR these days. So it's a pretty high rate of interest. Definitely beats any interest that people are earning in the bank. And the cool thing is, when you have FlexUSD as the base pair for a DeFi ecosystem, which is sort of what we're seeing on smartBCH, everyone just makes more money, because instead of trading in USDC and you know their yield is just what they're getting from the DeFi stuff that they're doing, they're trading in something that has a yield as well on top of it. So they're getting, you know, kind of multiple layers of yield on top. And so I think that, you know, our goal is that by FlexUSD being one of the main stablecoins in smartBCH can actually attract a lot of capital over from other ETH ecosystems and other ecosystems, simply because the base layer has yield as well. And then FlexCoin is our exchange token. The trading fees on CoinFLEX are paid in FlexCoin. Our profits we buy and burn into Flex, and also some of our revenues we burn in Flex, and we also pay them to the upcoming DAO. So FlexCoin is very much tied to CoinFLEX's business, our revenues, and the trading fees that people pay. And our stablecoin is called FlexUSD.
Thanks very much. And so, as you mentioned, so both of those have launched on smartBCH, is that right? And they were SLP and now they are on smartBCH?
Exactly, yeah.
Very good, thank you. So finally, before we get again to the more technical review, I would love if people have any comments about what the experience was like, either say Mark moving move from SLP to smartBCH, or Ian or Fernando, if this was your first time making a token like this. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't check in with that's my fault. Mark, we need to hear about your project. So I mean, I'm sorry, not Mark, Josh. Messing up my notes over here. So you're working on SmartMask, which is not a token project. So could you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so it's just a small onboarding tool for people that are getting into smartBCH. So a lot of people already have MetaMask installed because they've interacted with an Ethereum or they've worked with some of these other chains. So when you go to SmartMask, it's a little built-in web wallet. You can run it as a Docker container locally. It's all open source. You can see the code. It actually doesn't require any special seed phrase or anything. It just integrates with MetaMask as your secure key storage. So it provides a nicer UI for sending tokens. It auto detects all the common tokens that are in smartBCH, so they don't have to click and manually add them. It includes the correct artwork for the token and just a few links for community projects like MissSwap, BenSwap, and a lot of the community projects for smartBCH. It's designed to work within either a desktop environment or on your mobile phone. So if you're in a MetaMask browser, it's designed to be kind of a replacement for your smartBCH sending experience. So I'm working on NFT support for that right now. I've got all of the basic SEP20 support done, and I just want to make sure we have a good NFT capable viewing wallet. And right now, MetaMask on desktop is really poor at dealing with NFTs, and on mobile, the experience is far from ideal.
Thanks very much. So yeah, maybe we can, if I could ask you to talk a little bit about what it's been like learning to, or the coding and then interfacing with these things that were, I guess, originally built for Ethereum. And of course, smartBCH is an Ethereum virtual machine compatible. But what has that been like, and how are the tools making that particularly easy for you, or is it something that is still being built from scratch?
The tools out there are all basically working. You can use all the built-in Ethereum tooling. That's why I did the sample project, honestly, and open sourced it, is I wanted people to see how you hook into MetaMask, how you deal with event bindings, how you would do a basic transaction send, how you would do a SEP20 transfer. All of that code is open source and available for people to see. And there's also batching support in there, so you can see how to send batch requests to a node so that you're more efficient. And that'll be useful to future developers, hopefully. The one thing that is weird, and I think it's weird for everybody, is a lot of the methods have the word ETH in it. And it's like, okay, well, I'm calling this ETH method, and it's like, okay. So it's a little funky on that side. The Web3 JS stuff can be a little bit of a bear. Some of the encodings that are required around the ABI contracts is different than how you deal with UTXOs, but it was really easy. In fact, the SmartMask wallet, if you set it up for Ethereum, it would just work as long as you updated the asset list.
Very cool, thanks. So maybe Ian and Fernando, then either of you please speak up and we can get to the other one. Do you have any thoughts on what the process of creating a token was like? Did you find it to be pretty easy? Had you made a token before on Ethereum, and so we're familiar with the tooling? Sure.
I didn't create a token on Ethereum. In fact, I have serious experience before smartBCH appeared with ERC20. So creating the token was very fast because there is a web page there, I think it is yours, Josh. Or
I
don't
believe
know.
it was JT. JT put together a really nice SEP20 minting interface that was part of the Fountainhead project.
I thought it was yours. Well, it is very easy web page to do it. And then I start learning about some contracts about Uniswap because I am making a weekly distribution of KTH for liquidity providers. So I made a script. It is an easy thing comparing to what Josh is doing, but a script to get who is providing liquidity in which percentage. So I use that program to then send the proportional amount of KTH to each provider. So I'm starting with it, and it is very exciting.
Great that it's been that accessible. Yeah, Ian, what has your experience been like?
Yes, was really, really easy because one of the tools with the advantage of smartBCH is we can use all the ETH tools like ERC20 Mint's webpage, where we create ARG as really easy, fast, and cheap, because smartBCH provide you a fast and cheap network where you can really use it. So at the same of the airdrops, we send ARG to 9.5 thousand people, and was really fast. We only received the addresses and send to all with a tool who is working in ETH and work perfectly.
Thanks very much. So I'd like to transition. So Mr. Wang, could you maybe give us an overview of what the launch for the mainnet was like, and what challenges have there been and successes have there been for smartBCH?
Oh, I can't guess what will happen, and I don't know which path will lead us to success. I just fix the problem we have met. Since the launch of smartBCH, some people report bugs and some people require the features. So we just adjust the development of smartBCH to meet the people's needs. Currently, we are still working on the coin vaulting feature. That is, you can select the validators of smartBCH using by staking your coins, staking your BCH to elect a new validator, such that we can have more validators. Josh is always wanting to be a validator. So if we can make such a hard fork, mainly more validators can join. And you may heard that there is a project named Wangan.cash, and the creator UAntX is also wanting to build a validator node for us. If we can vote for him with the coins, he can be an active validator now. So I think this is very important features, and we want to add it very quickly. About the shard gate, and we in the last month we also collected a lot of suggestions, and some people give some warnings about the feature of the mainnet. So maybe we have to pay more time to make it safer and secure to use. So the priority of the shard gate bridge to the mainnet will be need more time. And currently we are focusing on the next hard fork to enable coin vaulting, and there are still a lot of bugs to be fixed, or feature bugs to be fixed. That is, maybe we should end the archive mode as soon as possible. Mark and other people and several other people told with me that they need archive mode. Which means you can query the whole history. You can query the chain's status and every single height. And you can know the status of any point in the history. This mode is supported by Ethereum, but currently smartBCH have not supported this. We can do it because the underlying library, MoinADS, can support it, but we still need a lot of coding to make it usable through the API, through a JSON RPC. So maybe we will put more time on this subject. I thought it was not so important, but in the last month, more and more people told me that they need archive mode. So maybe we will put its priority a bit higher and implement it in the next few months. There is no clear picture in my mind. Oh, following this step and this step, and finally we will succeed. I have no such a plan. I just serve the people who the user of smartBCH and what they told us. Oh, I need this, I need that, and I will try to meet their requirement. And we will see if we make progress every day. What achievement can we get? We just work and see. There is no clear picture.
So at least from my vantage point, working at a major exchange, having a archival mode that has all of the data and chain history is critical for the reliability of large scale exchanges. So that if they fall behind or they have some issue with their nodes or they have issues with their infrastructure, they have plenty of time to be able to recover and be able to always have that historic chain state so that they can provide that for auditability purposes. So I definitely would encourage that be prioritized, just because I think it would help a lot of the larger scale customers that are looking to run smartBCH.
Okay, I understand. Oh, and actually, besides the low level development, I also create, I'm also interested in some of the application level tools. So in the last month, our team made a small tool, a small tool named which can support limited order. Currently, all the swamp on smartBCH, the Burn swamp and the Mist swamp, and maybe the future Knuth swamp, they all based on Uniswamp v2, right? So we can only have AMM pool, but Uniswamp v3 they have a method to support limit order. So the user experience is better, and you can provide more liquidity with smaller amounts of coins. So I believe since limit order is also very popular in the centralized exchanges, people are used to it. So I believe if we can support the limit order in some swamp or DEX or smartBCH, it will be good for the users. So I talked this with Mark, and we wrote the smart contract and some tooling for it. And it's not a dedicated desk, but I want the other desk projects can use it. So this is so we are just interested in this issue, and we did it. It's not actually a fundamental library work. It's application level work, but since we are interested, we do it, and we provide it to the community. Maybe it will be useful for you. It's also a small work of us. And when we are also working on a better tool for airdrop, maybe we can provide more information about it in the near future. Many coins are actually meme coins. I believe the CANS and ARC and even KTH, they are all some kind of meme coins. When you when you want to airdrop these coins to more people, I believe this new airdrop tool may help you. And that's the work have been done in the last 2 months.
That's great to hear that you're taking such a feature-focused approach, and obviously you're listening to the people who are actually using the product. So that's great to hear. You did mention that you might be taking more time to finish or work on SHA-Gate just to get it right. And I'm sure everyone would be enthusiastic about making sure we get it right the first time, but others might be concerned about putting that off for too long. Could you describe some of the reasons that it's difficult to make work or figure out?
Yes. When the SHA-Gate come to my mind, and I was very excited, and I want to implement it as soon as possible. And but as time goes by, the limitations of the OP code and byte count of the current BCH main chain put a very hard limit to us. And actually, you know, there is only integers of 32 bits, right? The 64 bits support will be in the next hard fork, but without the 64 bits, we cannot put an arbitrary amount of BCH in one UTXO for SHA-Gate. That will be a headache. And since we have a tight limitation on the byte count and the operation count of each UTXO unlock script, we can name the covenant. We name the covenant. So the script must be very, very simple. We struggled a lot, and finally we can figure out a way to implement the basic function for SHA-Gate. But people are not satisfied with it because since some of the weaknesses that they are only a limited count of the operator. We cannot put much because there is a space limit, and since there is a limit of the miners firmware, you know that the miner machines, most of the miner machines were produced by Bitmain, and the Bitcoin miners, their firmware cannot support a lot of outputs for the Coinbase transaction. Without this feature, because of the limited number of UTXO output of the Coinbase transaction, we cannot vote for a lot of cross-chain transactions. You know, so if some operator is behave badly, the bandwidth for the miner to stop them, to vote to stop them, is limited by the transaction count. The protocol does not place a hard limit of the output count, but the miner's firmware put such a limit. And since the Bitmain's mining machines is everywhere, so we must. This is a realistic, is the real world limit for us. So maybe we need to add some Merkle tree based voting scheme, such that one UTXO of a Coinbase transaction can vote for multiple cross-chain transactions. So, but this also require a lot of space, opicals and byte count of the covenant. So without next year's main chain hard fork, we have so much limitations. If maybe we can implement a version of SHA-Gate which can work, but maybe it will have a lot of weakness. So we do not want to hurry to a solution. Okay, so maybe I will write an article explain all of the details I'll try to make it understandable because there is a lot of details of the main chain scripting issues. It's hard to explain to general people, but I will try to write such an article to explain the hardness we have met.
I'm sure people would appreciate it, and you're doing a great job now walking us through it in real time. So we appreciate that too. So let's also talk a little bit about then the current state of the gates of the bridge situation, and maybe we can go to Mark for this. Could you just walk us through basically the current workings and state of the centralized bridge that CoinFLEX runs with smartBCH?
Yeah, absolutely. So the bridge is pretty simple. This is not something that needs to be over-engineered. The way it works is people deposit BCH to CoinFLEX. They then want to convert their BCH to SCP20 BCH. And what happens then is, let's say a user is saying, I want to convert 100 BCH into SCP20 BCH, or I've got 100 BCH deposit on CoinFLEX. I want to withdraw it as 100 SCP20 BCH. They'll basically, they'll just initiate that withdrawal. So they have a very easy UX on their side. They just initiate a withdrawal as SCP20. And we will move 100 BCH from our client accounts wallets, which are cold storage wallets, but they're general client accounts used for trading on the exchange and all sorts of things, to a specific address that is a CoinFLEX controlled address, and it's reserved and specifically used for the bridge. And so that address shows how much BCH has been locked up and tied up for bridge purposes. And then you can see in terms of the total floating SCP20 BCH out there that are not in the effectively locked SCP20 BCH address, more BCH come into existence on the SCP20 side. And all the SCP20 BCH are already in existence. So when Kui and the the various nodes that started up the network did that, all of the BCH 21 million were minted at Genesis, but we are basically storing the unissued ones, and then the general public is trading with and transacting with the issued ones. So the ones that have actually been been locked with BCH on the CoinFLEX side. And then on the way out, it's just the opposite process. So on the way out, we move SCP20 BCH straight back into the locked address, and then we remove BCH from mainnet from the BCH address on mainnet. So it's a remarkably simple process, as I think often the best things are in life. It is multi-sig, offline cold storage. So all of our activity is we generally think that the best way to run any sort of business where you're managing other people's money is with offline cold storage and multi-signature control of the keys. And so everything we're doing on the smartBCH side, custodying, I think at this point, tens of millions of dollars worth of smartBCH, is offline and controlled by multiple signatures on our side.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate you taking the time, both of you, to sort of walk us through the current situation. So that's probably plenty of the technical side of things. Let's talk a little bit more about how the reception of these projects has been. Now, I know that we are seeing some surprising numbers. For example, in the airdrops for ARG and KTH, is that right? There's a good number of people applying for that airdrop.
Yes, I don't remember exactly the number, but I think it was like 9,000 addresses, and there was a video. I don't remember who recorded the video of the people sending the address, it was very impressive. And then we have Telegram group with 8.5 thousand people in the KTH. Very exciting time for BCH. So I want to thank you, Dr. Wang, for giving us smartBCH.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Kui. Really
Awesome.
Incredible work you've done. And also I would say, if you're a BCH holder, it's truly a gift, because they did this work without creating a governance token. You know, there are some fundamental technological huge leaps and bounds ahead of other EVM ecosystems. Most EVM ecosystems are, you know, really just a basic replica, and this is really fundamental technological improvements at the hardware level and close to machine code level. And I think it would be very easy, especially with the pedigree of, you know, some of these team, you know, members in the smartBCH team, to go out and raise a large amount of money and launch this as an independent chain. I think that would be trivial to do. And the fact that they're doing this with BCH as the fee paying token, BCH as the, you know, the main token on the network, it's just an incredible sign. I think it was a brilliant move by Kui Wang. I think we should all be extremely grateful to him and the team. And also I would say, as someone building in BCH, it's such a pleasure to build for this community, because with a lot of the ecosystems that we see on, like, you know, Finance Smart Chain and some of the replicas of that and some of the other ecosystems, people are just coming in for the rewards, and then, you know, they kind of leave. They'll come in for some short period and then, you know, exit out. And the type of DD that those types of users do is going to be less. The type of interest they're going to have is going to be less. And so I think not only was it a great decision for all of us, but I think it was a you know, great decision for smartBCH as a project, because this community is long-term minded. You know, BCH holders are some of the most distributed holders of a coin. You know, this is not a concentrated coin. It's a very, very distributed coin. And the benefit you get out of that in terms of the community is immense. So to people that are looking to build in this space, that's really not something you should ignore. And it's something you should really be welcomed by, because these people will go to incredible amounts of time and DD, and they'll give you lots of leeway, and they'll try, you know, they'll look at you and really examine your project. And so if you are looking to do something that you know, that gets a lot of attention, this is an amazing spot to be in, and I think better than almost anywhere else in DeFi.
And I would like to thank your understanding. I always try to make it clear that we make the coding from scratch, so there is a lot of fundamental differences from Go Ethereum. It's not a fork of Go Ethereum. So there are some fundamental breakthroughs, but in the application level, since it is not a clone, so we may miss some features, and most importantly, the archive mode. So we need time to implement it. If we just clone Go Ethereum, we will have archive mode immediately. But I think in the long run, the underlying limitations of Go Ethereum will block the progress, block the whole cryptocurrency industry's progress. So we want to do this breakthrough. We want to do such a breakthrough. Maybe it will have some shortage in the short term, miss this, miss that, and have this bug or that bug. But in the long run, we can make a better tool for the whole industry. So thanks you for your understanding and patience. We will fix these bugs, the feature bugs and the function bugs. We will fix them.
Well, we all, I think we all appreciate each other. That's the current state of affairs. So yeah, thank you very much. Let's see, hard to beat that. So let's talk maybe a little bit about, so we're talking about, we've got some users coming in. Maybe let's talk about the future now. So Fernando, you've already talked a little bit about how you're hoping to use KTH for funding, and Ian, you said for onboarding. Do you have any plans for the future of your token, Ian?
Yes. What we did was create a token for onboard people and bring users to smartBCH. Our goal is onboard more and more people to smartBCH, because smartBCH need to attract projects, capital, and users. And we are trying to help users. We create 3 airdrops and a meme tournament with a lot of memes, and then a YouTube challenge where you receive ARC if you create a video on YouTube about smartBCH. Because one day I was looking about information of smartBCH in YouTube, and I saw all the videos. So we need more videos and more content about smartBCH. So we created a challenge, and a lot of people make a video, like 40 videos. We make the challenge together with Fernando, and people love it. So we are trying to be in all the decks, all the DeFi projects on smartBCH. We are making some space in our website to talk a little about ARC token. That's all. I'm trying to bring more users.
Very good, thanks. And then Josh, I apologize, I don't remember if you talked much about your future plans for the rest of SmartMask, but could you tell us what your future plans are if you hadn't already?
Well, absolutely. So I've been working on infrastructure stuff, obviously running full node infrastructure for smartBCH. My node gets lots and lots of traffic. And so that's been really fun, just testing out everything and testing out the releases and being able to run some of the infrastructure. I plan on continuing to do that and hoping that we can get better indexing tools for things like explorers and just more in-depth analysis of what's happening on the chain. But I'm going to be continuing working on SmartMask, at least for the NFT use case, try to get it so that sends and receives and the NFT experience is really nice there, and continue to make it easier to onboard users. Other than that, it's kind of open-ended as to what I plan on doing, but definitely plan on continuing to build in the space.
Thanks very much. And before I move on, I would just like to open up to anybody, including Mr. Wang. Is there anything that we haven't touched on yet that you are particularly excited about for the future of smartBCH? You know, what do you see happening, or what do you think is going to be big in the near future?
And
all right. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I think we still need one important feature on smartBCH, that is something like chain link. Oracles is very important for the ecosystem, and I believe the first one who built Oracle implementation on smartBCH will have a huge success, because Chainlink is already a huge success. And I believe people can make a lot of innovations, utilize the high throughput of smartBCH to make a better solution, maybe than other EVM compatible chains. And I'm looking forward to such a project.
Very cool. Thank you. So now I'm going to take a look at the questions from YouTube and elsewhere and on Twitter and relay them to you guys. So let's see. And I won't know for sure what some of them mean, and maybe you guys won't also. We'll do our best with them, and if we don't know what's going on, we'll move on. So first one, we were wondering if we can use smartBCH to help us build a reservation system for the Bitcoin payment module. I want to be able to reserve the machine for my use with a BCH transaction. Does anyone know what's going on there? Me neither. Well, if they can clarify, then feel free to drop another question. So, oh, and maybe it's clarified, but this next one, my apologies. It says Bitcoin laundromat. So the washing and drying machines will not be able to be used by anybody until the payer is validated. Does that make sense? I'm afraid I didn't follow. If no one else did, we'll probably move on to the next one and they can rephrase.
Okay, well, I think that I can guess what they're saying. Is
okay,
it sounds
great.
Like they want to trigger actions based off of an automated payment, a la the gumball machines and candy machines that we've seen in the past, right? So there are definitely different pieces of gear that can trigger on payment for things like a washing machine or those types of gadgets, but it's very dependent on what your equipment is. So there's ways to easily fabricate it, but there's not much that you can just buy that makes it so that like you can convert something that takes a traditional payment to take a crypto payment and work.
So is that sort of the level of things where you'd be expected to buy a tiny computer or a microcontroller and do a little bit of coding and soldering, and that's where we're at with that sort of technology?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. From OG Foundation, he asks, Mark, can you explain the risks of leveraged trading using AMM? What are the margin requirements? For example, if I used one BCH at 100x to buy at 400 through 600, what does that look like?
That's a great question. Not relevant to smartBCH, but if you want to go to the CoinFLEX _EN channel, feel free to ask any of us that question.
Thanks very much, Mark. So let's see, from so the situation will be improved a lot with 64-bit and introspection codes, right?
Yeah, of course, definitely.
Okay, great.
And we are eager to see they will be implemented in the next year's hard fork. They are very important.
Excellent.
Regarding that, Dr. Wang, we were working with Colin Culiano in the past month, implementing 64 integers and native introspection, and the pull requests or merge requests are already on Bitcoin Cash node code, and there is a testnet you can use if you want to play with it. Maybe you can change your code to use that new opcode.
Yes.
So,
that's good to hear. And if the CAS script can support the testnet with the new features, I will try the new version of Sharkit as soon as possible. It's exciting news.
Great. I think we shared the information, but I will send the information about this new testnet in a few minutes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next question. Is there a link or website that shows how much BCH is locked up in smartBCH and what's been burned? So they're looking for those two pieces of information. Is there somewhere we can send them for that?
There's an address. We don't actually have a link. Our dev team's been so busy. There's an address, and I can post that to you, and then you can put it in the show notes. I think there's a way to see the burns on SmartScan as well. I think someone's even created a chart of the burns. I'm not sure, but I think I saw that circulating at some point. So
okay, great. And if you don't mind, maybe we can point them again towards the CoinFLEX channels, since y'all are running this bridge. Very cool. Thank you. Let's see how we're doing on time. I have time for just a couple more of these questions. We'll get through as many as we can. Colin Culiano asks, when RPC so that missed swap can do analytics. Apparently, Kasumi was saying that some RPC call is missing that would make analytics easy for missed swap. Anyone know what's going on there?
Maybe he means the RPC of archive mode. Yes, archive mode.
I suspect that's what he means.
Well, they're really building up the hype for archive mode. I'm looking forward to it. So let's see. So ERC20 contracts can work. Oh, sorry. Okay, great.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
So ERC20 contracts can work on smartBCH, but they have to be traded for a smartBCH analog, and then the ERC20 contract operates on Bitcoin Cash and frictionless. Is that close to correct? This might be something that's worth clearing up just as a really big picture. And maybe Mark or Josh would be the best to sort of walk us through, like, there's Bitcoin Cash, the token, the network, and then there's Ethereum, the network, and Ethereum, the token standard, and the token standards they have, and the fact that, could you just maybe explain a little bit about how all these things are related and which things aren't the same as the other things?
Yeah, I can definitely kind of get into that a little bit. All right, so we have our base Bitcoin Cash UTXO chain. It has UTXOs represent bills. It is very, very different from Ethereum. It has its own scripting tier. It has its own stuff. What Kui's built is awesome. It is a side chain. It is connected to Bitcoin Cash. It uses Bitcoin Cash as its base currency. So much like Paul Sorchik's drive chain idea, there's a limited amount of Bitcoin Cash. And so you have 21 million Bitcoin Cash, whether you're on the main chain or on the side chain, and they get locked up on the main chain when they move over to smartBCH. So smartBCH has this representation of a Bitcoin Cash that is unique on their network from a locked up version that is on the main chain that can only be released if it ever gets sent off of the smartBCH network. Now, this is the kind of the design paradigm. Now, on top of that, now you have BCH, the main token on the side chain, which is different than the main BCH. But then you have tokens that are available, and we use the SEP20 standard, which is very similar to ERC20, but with some minor tweaks in the spec. But basically, it's an ERC20. It's the same basic thing. Now, those ERC20s are used for a lot of tokens, and a lot of smart contracts are designed to trade between ERC20s or SEP20s. So sometimes you want to take that Bitcoin Cash that's on the side chain and abstract it one additional tier and wrap it so it functions like a SEP20 or an ERC20 token, because then it's more compatible with more smart contracts that interact with the ERC20 standard. So that's where you get the wrapped BCH that's already, so it's weird. You have BCH, another BCH, and then you have wrapped BCH. Hopefully that was a reasonable explanation.
Sure, and I think one extra part to touch on then is to just make really clear that if you have a project that's already on Ethereum and you copy the code over, that's very different than from copying the entire project over or saying it's like the same project. You know, you're if there's a project that already exists on Ethereum, and I'm not sure if this is what even the comment was talking about, but just to make it very clear that these are two totally separate networks. They're like two different computers that the same programs can run on.
Yep.
Thanks very much. All right, maybe time for just one more question. Let's see.
I want to brush on
go
one very good thing about this design, that the nice thing about segregating these environments and treating them as independent chains is we can do capacity management differently. We can do different things on different chains with different guarantees. I can send an instant transaction with zero conf on the traditional Bitcoin Cash chain, works great for payments, allows for great concurrency. It has a lot of options that are not great in an account-based chain. But then smartBCH brings an entire world of this account-based chain style that allows for Turing-complete smart contracts that are easy to use, that have good tooling, and it brings the best of both worlds. Because if my poolside puffers get really popular, it doesn't impact me spending my peer-to-peer cash. And if my peer-to-peer cash layer, for some reason, there's something going on, it won't affect the people that are doing DeFi. They're segregated in their own environments, which allows us to experiment more freely. We voluntarily move our coins to a new place. And we know that, some of the stuff's in development, and it's super exciting watching it being built out.
Thanks very
Guys,
much. Yeah, that's absolutely so good.
I've got to head off this call. It was lovely participating in this. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Okay, well, maybe I'll end it with this last one. And I know this can be a bit of a hot topic, but we'll do our best to treat it briefly and reasonably. Someone's saying is, as a BCH holder, I appreciate the BCH burn as a result of smartBCH, but cutting its supply as peer-to-peer cash when there will only be 21 million should be reconsidered. Are there plans to reconsider? And so I guess maybe whether or not there are plans to actually reconsider. Mr. Wang, could you tell us just a little bit about the decision to do the burning?
Oh, the burning. Some people misunderstand the meaning is just a word that we can change the expression. That we just lock the coins in a unspendable address. So you mean the coins of Satoshi is never spent. So effectively, these coins are actually locked in those unspendable address. So actually, we are doing the same thing. These coins are locked, and no one can spend it. So the BCH in currency will be limited, and everyone will benefit from it. So do not let the word burn mislead you. It's just locked, and no one can spend it.
Slightly different way to describe it, right? So for a while, I thought the burn was a really big deal, right? And then I thought about it more. And if you think about it as a set of ratios, right? So right now we have a ratio of a certain amount of coins and a certain number of coins that are being held, right? So and anytime the main supply of BCH goes down, my overall ratio of the amount of BCH I have as a holder goes up. So if we can change the precision of BCH to be any precision long-term, not necessarily in the next couple hard forks, but long-term, we can change the precision and it's still 21 million coins. But we can use a higher precision, which means our divisibility is not affected, which means that there's still just as much BCH that can go around. It's just as liquid, just as easy to get everyone. And anytime someone talks about a burn, it doesn't mean that people will not have access to BCH. They still will have access to BCH. The ratio changes, and all it did was give everybody a little bit of extra money or a little bit of economic pressure that the price would go up slightly for all of us equally, instead of the smartBCH developers taking any value for themselves. So what they've done is created an economic incentive to increase the BCH price slightly, created a slightly rarer asset when it comes to total supply, but without affecting the divisibility and the ability for it to be spent in different small chunks in the market, as long as we can make the chain more divisible, which is already a plan. Whether you call that fractional Satoshis or you call it a different precision, whatever you call it, it's a way to make it so that we can express a smaller base unit so that we can be more divisible within the 21 million.
Well, thank you both very much for providing your perspective on that. And thanks everyone in the YouTube chat for providing our questions. That is all the time we'll have for today, but I'd like to thank everyone, of course, for joining us for the Bitcoin Cash Network discussions. Visit us at bitcoincashnetworkdiscussions.org if you are interested in proposing a proposal or something along those lines. Please check out bitcoincashresearch.org. And thanks very much to them for running the platform. Thanks to everyone who works behind the scene making these discussions possible. There's a lot of people doing a lot of work, and I appreciate all of them. And of course, thanks to our viewers for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future discussions and BCH network discussion related content. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Good one.
Thank you so much. Bye.